Good morning. Welcome to week 11. Can you believe week 11? We're doing the pregame show once again. Matt, with me as always. I'm Ben. Matt, how are you today?
I am doing well. How about you?
I'm absolutely shocked that we made it to week 11 without any major hiccups. How about you?
Yeah, the way things were going at the beginning of the year didn't look great, but clearly the last few weeks have shown us that the NFL is willing to play through pretty much anything. So,
yeah,
and that means guys testing positive for COVID within a couple of days or a day of the game. They just take it out and the game goes on.
Yeah. One of the things that I was worried about during the season was having too many players on the same team, because in case a game gets canceled, but I'm pretty sure they're not canceling any more games, and they're just going to sit players like we saw. Was it the San Fran Green Bay game where they had to sit a bunch of players?
There was that.
Because they tested right before then. And then one of the players from Green Bay played the whole game with COVID, and that didn't even cause any type of a stir. So I don't see week 18 coming. I think we're going to be fine with week 17. So it's great news for fantasy football players, because I'm sure the NFL, as much as it doesn't care about the fantasy football season, would have been happy to go 18 or, throw some buys during the playoffs, which would have really thrown a wrench into things. But don't see that happening now. So go ahead and have every single Jet you want on the same team if you want to stack that team or any team.
Sorry, the other thing just to notice on top of that topic there with COVID is that we've had multiple players play an entire game, come out the next day and say that they were positive for the Sunday, and there wasn't an outbreak on either team involved in those games. So that's also going to strengthen the NFL's position where there's no risk here.
Absolutely. Great point.
Yeah.
So let's get into the show. We got lots to talk about today.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start with the weather.
All right.
Weather, Matt, what do you got for us?
So weather looks pretty good for the most part here. The one game that it may have an effect in is the Philadelphia Eagles at the Cleveland Browns. It's supposed to be raining almost the entire day there in Cleveland for that entire game. So that will likely have a bit of an effect on your medium to long range passes, maybe have more of an effect on the run game, that they're going to be using that a little bit more than they were planning on it. I would still be okay with our shorter range guys, like, your tight ends and your backs for receiving, and even someone like Jarvis Landry, who doesn't really run a bunch of deep routes, he should be okay for that.
This is Cleveland's third straight game in bad weather. They had Houston, they had the Oakland game that was awful. There's just no luck for this team for fantasy.
Yeah.
We got the Macho Man here today. What a glorious day. Good morning to you both. Thank you for joining us, Randy Macho Man Savage. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. So that's it for weather, just the one game. Let's talk about Jarvis Landry while we're on this. You don't assume Jarvis Landry is going to be affected, right?
He shouldn't. I mean, he's not like a notoriously deep route runner, right? So he's going to be in that 10 to 15-yard range for the most part. Range shouldn't be that bad that it's going to affect Baker too much to throw that far.
Okay, but I want to talk about how much Baker sucks. Well, we can just skip over that because we know it. Let's talk about how bad Jarvis Landry's been this year. I have him ranked at 31 this week in PPR. You have him at 23. You're still on board, even though his average for the season in receiving yards is 4 for 50.
Yeah, that's not great, but he's always got that. He's got a really high floor, generally speaking.
Hold on, I'm going to count all the touchdowns he has. Oh, he doesn't have any catching. He has one throwing.
Well, that's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, that's great. What do you think his high is in yardage for the season?
I'm going to say about 80.
88.
88.
Okay. 3 games over 50 yards with a high of 88.
He's got a lot. Yeah, I mean, he always catches about 4 or 5, 6 balls.
4. He's averaging 4 for 50. Yeah. That's his season-long average, 4 for 50.
I mean, with Odell being out, it helps a little bit, I think. But
it hasn't. I know the weather's been bad and the weather's bad again, but they've been running the ball, and I think they're going to continue to run the ball. So if you have some better options than Jarvis Landry, it's time to plug those higher upside plays in, because 450 isn't anything. Like, that's 9 points in PPR, which isn't the worst thing, but it's really not. Like, that's his average too. So he could be below that. He could be 2 for 20. Anyways, Jarvis Landry, not somebody that I'm excited to start today. Matt, you still have him in the start range. We're going to get to a comment here from the Macho Man, who asks, I know this is an embarrassment of riches, but are we going with Renfro or Hilton today?
That's
I would have to go Hilton just because Renfro hasn't really.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's T.Y. Hilton, but that isn't a good start. I think I have him at 50. I just checked.
Yeah, neither of those guys are rinsing today.
No, that's good play on words there. Yeah, no, he's it's T.Y., but it's not a great option.
It's a man named T.Y. It's not the T.Y. of old. It's old T.Y.
Yeah.
But Renfro in a position that we all thought he might have a better season. They did bring in Ruggs. They did bring in Bryan Edwards, but they really haven't used either of those guys. Tyrell Williams out for the season. They're mainly using Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah. And
it's mostly Darren Waller. There could be a lot of passing in that game today, but I'll take Hilton. Both are going to be not great.
Yeah.
That's Kaka, question mark.
It is Kaka. It's not great.
It's definitely poopy. Let's get to the Thursday night game, a game that was a pretty good game. We expected more points in that game. I think most people had these quarterbacks like 1 and 2, or at least both in the top 5. I think Kyler was a unanimous 1. Before we get to the game, I want to talk about how I don't like Matthew Berry because he's annoying. Like, he was posting on Twitter about DK dropping a pass and complaining because he owns him in fantasy. Is it his first year playing fantasy? Like, it happens. Grow up. And he was calling Kyler a bust at the half. And I'm like, there's a lot of game to play. So, I don't know. I just want to vent about how he was being a little bit of a baby on Twitter. And you don't expect that from somebody who's supposed to be kind of the face of fantasy football for ESPN and for just basically anyone, right? Like, he's the guy, and he's throwing a little tantrum like it's his first year playing. Anyways,
I think that's
Carlos Hyde now in the must-own handcuff pool for you, Matt.
Well, they do say Carson is back next week. They did come out and say that already.
All right, well, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the handcuff pool.
Yeah.
So guys like Matheson, Pollard.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown he can do it when Carson's out. So, I mean, if you've got Carson, I would hold on.
Got to have him. Got to have Hyde.
Yeah.
The thing I was worried about going into Thursday was the possibility that DJ Dallas was going to play a role, but he didn't. Is DJ Dallas fantasy dead now?
Yeah, when Carson and Hyde are there, there's no other backs.
Even just Hyde. He barely got any work with just Hyde. He was fighting Bo Scarborough for touches.
Yeah.
So he needs 2 injuries to be part of a committee. And, so he's fantasy dead as long as one of them is healthy.
Yeah, we're not using DJ Dallas this year for the rest of the year.
Unless we have 2 injuries. And again, Carlos Hyde makes it into that pool. It is cuffing season. If you're going into the playoffs, you got a good team, you're better off having a Carlos Hyde on your team to back up your Chris Carson share than you are having a LaMichael Pirine share thinking, oh, he could blow up to something. Well, even if he does, he's probably not going to be good enough to start on your team. Whereas Carlos Hyde, if Carson goes down, is going to be better than Pirine. So set your roster accordingly. Get your handcuffs on your team if your team is through the bye. I believe no buys next week, right? And then buys in week 13, a very odd situation.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay, who would you like rest of the season? Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf?
I will take DK Metcalf.
I will also take DK Metcalf. How close is it for you?
Like, I have DK still top 12. I have Lockett top 20. So,
okay, so
5-6 spots.
Fair bit off. I think Lockett just disappears more than Metcalf does. I'm not saying Metcalf doesn't disappear in certain games like he did against the Rams defense, who was my pick for who do you think you are? I am last week, and they shut down the Seahawks offense. And you said I wasn't allowed to pick a defense, but I did anyways. What about Chase Edmonds? Is he only basically a handcuff like Carlos Hyde going forward? I know he had the touchdown.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, that was I didn't really buy that Drake would be like by far the lead back in that situation when he came back, but he clearly is.
Yeah, he clearly was last Sunday, and he clearly was again on Thursday. Yeah. A fortunate touchdown for Chase Edmonds salvaged his day. Yeah. It's not something that you can bank on, a huge coverage breakdown, him being wide open in the end zone every week. Yeah. So if you have Drake, you have to have Chase Edmonds. It's no different than if you have Carson, you have to have Carlos Hyde. It's cuffing season, people. Get your handcuffs. Tatered tot, Rodgers or Burrow?
I'm going to go Rodgers. Even though that Indy D is really good, and he could have
a bust game.
Yeah. But I think I like him better than Burrow, but it's really close, actually. I have them like 8 and 12.
Do you know what I have them? Because I don't think I have Burrow that high.
8 and 13.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not that far off, but I would still go with Rodgers.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he may not do as well as he's done in weeks past, but I think he'll still be okay.
Yeah, he'll still be 15 plus. Thanks for the question, Tater Tot. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Really appreciate that. Back to the show. We're going to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, the most talked about sports superstar on the planet right now, right after this comment. Does Burkhead have another nice week? What a tremendous athlete. He's sneaky athletic, right?
That's such a hard backfield to read. Like
Sony Michel
out,
healthy scratch.
Yeah,
questionable for Harris, but I guess he's playing.
Yeah, I don't have any reason to believe that he's out.
I don't believe Burkhead's ever had 2 nice weeks in a row, so I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I'm also going to lean more on the no side here, but depending on what your other options are.
Yeah, why don't you list your other options, Randy Savage, and we'll let you know if they're better. They probably will be. Derek Ruel is here and says, how are the fellas feeling about DJ Chark today? The man in the back. Feeling great about him today, this matchup with Pittsburgh. They're going to have to throw. They're going to be behind by about 30 at the half, so they won't be able to hit James Robinson pumping it in there anymore. They're going to have to toss it up to DJ Chark or Keelan Cole, but hopefully DJ Chark, because he tends to have the big games and then kind of go away, then have the big games and kind of go away a bit. But yeah, I'm really liking DJ Chark today. Matt?
I'm not as hot on DJ Chark today. I think they're just going to shut him down. Like they're going to shut down that whole offense. There's not going to be garbage time for this Jacksonville offense.
They didn't shut down T. Higgins last week. They didn't shut down Tyler Boyd last week.
Yeah, well, there's a better quarterback in that situation by a lot.
There was also a whole lot more wind in that situation as well.
Yeah, I don't like it. I've got him at 26. You got him at 15. Quite a bit of discrepancy there.
Dynasty question for you. Oh, it's probably on the rankings. Who would you rather have in Dynasty between DJ Chark, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins?
Ooh. That's actually really tight.
So let's describe. Tyler Boyd is that safe, never going to be a wide receiver 1. He's going to be in that 15 to 25 range for a good 5 years, let's say. DJ Chark has the potential to be in the top 10, maybe 10 to 15, but could also be 20 to 25, depending on who the quarterback is there. And T. Higgins has a good quarterback, but will always have to deal with Tyler Boyd. So his ceiling gets capped a bit with Tyler Boyd having signed a contract. So he's there for the long term. I'm sure AJ Green will be out of there. But
yeah, but Boyd and Higgins are always going to eat into each other. That's the one thing that Chark has over the two of them. There isn't another wide receiver there.
Wow, the disrespect on Keelan Cole and Laviska Shenault.
Yeah, I guess Shenault might develop into something.
Nah. But here's the question he's coming with. Boyd, Juju, or Chark? Who FUQs harder today?
I have Boyd the highest of those guys.
I probably have Chark the highest. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Let's see. You do have Chark the highest, yes.
By a couple spots over Boyd?
Yeah.
So, Juju's last?
But, I mean, it's kind of depends. Like, if Boyd is your high floor guy, Juju's even a decent floor today.
Chark.
Do it. DJ Chark.
Dude, I don't know it. You know it.
Yes, you do. You know it.
The only way I know it is from you singing it to me. All right. Moving off from the Shark. So you're going to go with Chark in Dynasty over the rest of the guys?
Yeah, but it's super close. I like all three.
Higgins 2, Boyd 3?
Yeah.
Take the upside in Higgins?
Very close. Very close.
Yeah.
All three of
All
them.
right. So now we're finally, after all that build-up, going to talk about the most sneaky athletic player in the game, starting at quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, Taysom, tight end in some leagues, Hill. All right. Matt, at quarterback, where do you like him this week?
Um,
Don't look at your rankings because that said Jameis Winston when I looked at it, so I had to change it.
It was Jameis Winston. He's going to be about 15 or so. He's got a high floor for sure. Like he's going to run probably for about 70, 80 yards, I'm going to say.
Okay, what about this scenario? The reason he's starting today is because Peyton wants to see what he has in him. Could he do three and outs, and then it's Winston time?
Possibly. There is a report out this morning, I think, that a lot of Saints players and staff wanted to start Jameis.
I think it made sense to me that Peyton wants to see, like, they're paying this guy, so let's see if he can play quarterback. So let's see what we're going to do after Breeze goes. They don't, like, they're going to make the playoffs. They're good. So let's see what we got here. But it might just last 3 drives. That's the thing.
Yeah. I mean, he's lucky he's running into a Falcons defense that is awful. So that's going to really help him. I mean, I think that he's going to last longer than that. I think he's going to make some plays. He's like a Tim Tebow. But
yes, that's the exact comparison for what this guy is. He's Tim Tebow. He throws it a little bit nicer than Tebow.
Yeah.
And he catches better than Tebow.
Well, I have never seen Tim Tebow catch, I don't think.
Tim Tebow should have converted to tight end in Denver when Peyton got there, and he would have had a Hall of Fame career, or at least a start of one. So we have some questions here on the Instagram, Matt, before we get deep into the Taysom Hill conversation. Duke or Geo PPR?
I'm going to go Duke.
Duke?
But close.
Duke, but close.
Yeah.
I just want to see what I got. I don't think I cared too much for Geo this week. Duke it is. All right, we got another comment before we get into more Taysom Hill, because that's what you're here for, the Taysom Hill talk. Which Bucks back do you trust the most? Ronald Jones II.
Yeah, it is Rojo, but I don't trust either. Like, honestly, like I thought it was me Leonard Fournette last week, and it was Rojo.
Yep, so even Rojo after he fumbled.
It's going to be Fournette.
Even after he fumbled.
Yeah, I thought once, because I think we both had Fournette in DFS, and Rojo fumbled, and it's like, oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Nope.
It was clearly Rojo, the DFS play. Yeah. Best and worst pass defenses, best and worst run defenses. Well, I actually just have the stats on that if you want me to pull that up for you.
Worst run defense is Detroit, according to your stat here.
Yep.
I would have thought it'd be Carolina, honestly. But they got.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a bit. Pass defense, what is it? The Falcons, maybe?
Yeah, Falcons. Yeah. Against quarterbacks, anyway.
Against quarterbacks, against wide receivers, it is the Minnesota Vikings, and then the Cowboys, and then the Falcons. Oh, sorry, Seahawks are the worst.
Worst, yeah.
Seahawks are the worst against wide receivers, and Matt's frozen, and he's back. I
didn't freeze on my end.
You did on everybody else's. Let's get to Taysom Hill. What do you think? How many snaps does he get? Like, how many does Winston get? Do you think Winston automatically gets some or no?
Well, if you believe the coach speak, he gets none.
Okay.
And I think if there's no reason to put him in, I don't think they will. I don't think they want to send that message.
If the Falcons get out to a lead and they need an actual passing quarterback, do you think they turn to Winston?
Define how much of a lead we're talking here. Like if it's 7 points, no.
21-3 late in the third.
Then yeah, I think Jameis goes in.
2-minute drill, end of the first half. Who's running it? Winston or Hill?
I'll say Hill.
2-minute drill, end of the game in a 7-3 game. Who's running it?
I'll still say Hill. If they stuck with him for that long, they're not going to take him out at the end. Not like Jameis was that great last week anyway.
No, he was actually terrible last week.
Yeah.
And people were expecting a big game from Winston. Were a little off as well. I wouldn't be comfortable starting him at quarterback this week. Let's see what Charlie has to say. Start 3, including have my flex spot. Gio Bernard, Claypool, T. Higgins, Thielen, CeeDee, Crowder. All right, Thielen for sure.
Yeah.
Higgins.
I'm going to say Gio.
Gio if it's standard. Give me Claypool if it's PPR. Actually, I probably have Crowder higher, don't I? Nope, I have Claypool higher. Thanks for the question, Charlotte. Make sure that like and subscribe button. Let us know if it's PPR or standard, but PPR, I would prefer another wide receiver over Gio. Standard, I think Gio has to be there with T. Higgins and Thielen. T. Higgins and Thielen are for sure in there.
Yeah.
Stroke my eagle. Fulham was so flaccid last week, he had an innie. Him or Rager this week? Rager. I told you this last week. Matt, what did I say his ceiling was going to be? 4 for 50?
Yeah.
And did he hit that?
No, not even close.
1 for 8. The targets were going down. Alshon didn't even get a single target. He's going to get some targets today. The Travis Fulham, it's over. I told you he was dead last week. He's not coming back to life this week. You can cut him.
Yeah, you're right.
Cut him.
You were 100% right on Travis Fulham last week, for sure.
I was 100% right on everything is what I heard. Okay. In leagues where Taysom Hill can be started at tight end, is he the number 1 tight end? Over Kelsey.
Over Kelsey. I mean, it's a quarterback, right? I mean,
what about in PPR?
I'm still thinking he's going to outscore Kelsey.
What about in tight end premium?
That's close.
It would depend on what the premium is, right? If it's 2 points per reception. So here's the floor, I think, for Hill. He's going to run in a touchdown for sure. No question he runs one in. He's going to have at least 40 rushing yards, so that's 10 points. He's going to throw for at least 100, so that's another 4. And he's probably going to catch a couple passes.
He'll probably throw a touchdown or 2.
I mean, I'm just saying 18 is basically his floor. So in PPR, you would need somebody who's going to – Kelsey would need 6 for 80 and a touchdown to match his floor.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously doable for Kelsey. But
it is doable, but he's still the number 1. It's Hill over Kelsey. If you can start him at tight end. If you play DFS in FanDuel, you can start him at tight end for $4,500. Literally, like the cheapest you can go, you can start Taysom Hill at tight end. He's in my lineup at tight end.
He's going to be 100% of lineups, right?
He's going to be 90-something percent of lineups, and anybody who doesn't have him is just dumb.
They're just trying to be too contrarian.
Yeah, but you're going too far there. Like, that's 4,500. That's your tight end. You're basically doing 2 quarterback. You can put a tight end in the flex if you want a tight end that bad. PPR, I feel teams run against Washington, so Gio might be solid. But does that outweigh pass catching upside of a wide receiver?
I said I would take Gio over the other wide receivers, but I like Thielen and Higgins and Gio for his question.
So you like 2 Bengals against Washington?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, it was CD, Crowder, and Claypool. Yeah. I would go Gio over those guys.
Are you still off Harris? He's flexed his Peacock 3 weeks in a row. No? I mean, in standard leagues, he's solid, but in PPR, like, what is he getting you? 10 points? He's not catching any passes. But I mean, 10 points is basically what Jarvis Landry, he's 4 for 50 is doing. In standard leagues, he's a fantastic running back to throw in the flex. At this point, with the Gio being the healthy scratch, I don't think that Burkhead, even though he sometimes looks as like the better running back because he's sneaky athletic, real hard worker, that guy, a real gym rat. He still gets it done. Like, he finds the hole and he gets the yards. Like, he just piles up yards. So
yeah, I'm okay with Harris. I've got him in the top 21. You're off of him a bit more than that, but
in PPR, I just don't think that there's much there. Like, he has to have a 100-yard game because he's not catching a single pass.
Yeah.
No, so if he has a 90-yard game, that's the equivalent of somebody having 4 for 50. And let's talk about somebody that you're off of that easily is going to do 4 for 50, and that's J.D. McKissic. Washington running back, a.k.a. wide receiver. Do you know how many targets he had last week?
Like 15 or something.
You know how many he had the week before that?
Like 15 or something.
Exactly. He's had 15 and 14. Those are insane target numbers. So in PPR, like, that guy has 9 and 7 catches. That alone is 9 and 7 points. So if Harris is going out for 90 yards and 70 yards, he's equaling what McKissic is doing just with his hands catching the ball. Yardage forget yardage. And he's getting like 60, 40 yards, and he's getting some running attempts as well. So when it comes to PPR, give me J.D. McKissic and Alex Smith over Harris. In standard, no. In standard, I don't want J.D. McKissic anywhere near my lineup. And I'll take Harris all day, and it's not close.
Yeah,
those are the two swingiest ones in PPR to standard.
That's such a strange stat for J.D. McKissic. Like, he's nothing, really. But he's good, apparently.
But that's Alex Smith's game, right? Dump off.
But Gibson is a good receiving back, so that's why I don't get it.
Oh, I think it might just be a comfort thing where he's been working with the third stringers all year, so he's comfortable with him in the backfield, and he just uses him as a security blanket, and they want him out there. And, Riverboat Ron is a quarterback by committee type of guy. Until he had McCaffrey, it was who were the backs? My goodness. Stewart and DeAngelo Williams.
DeAngelo Williams is there, yeah.
And they always just shared. Like, you always were like, oh, this is going to be the year James Stewart comes out. And no, it's just a split. The Macho Man's got another question or another comment. Burkhead eats a very clean diet and takes care of his body. Yes, he's a very good when it comes to that. Real lunch pail guy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Joe Mixon, one of Matt's favorite players, who's had not the best season this season because of injuries. He was not great early on. And then Matt said, who do you think you are? Joe Mixon is. And then he delivered. And then he hasn't done much since. He had a decent game here and there. On IR now, going to miss another 2 weeks. Are you worried he won't be startable come fantasy playoffs?
I'm not worried about. I think he'll be startable by the time we're in like week. Well, 14 will be iffy. 15 and 16 he should be good.
14 could be the start of playoffs for somebody.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to pull up the schedule here to see who he plays and let me know if you want that matchup.
But he's been out for, that'll be, I think, 6 weeks or 7 weeks with like a mild foot sprain, they said.
Yeah, it's not major. Major. But yet he just keeps missing time.
Like, I think everybody expected him back after the bye, myself included. And just didn't come back, and now he's gone for 3.
So he gets the Cowboys at home when he gets back in week 14. Oh. So you got to plug him in there and go. Yeah. So there's no worry about him not starting for your playoffs unless he has a really bad game against the Cowboys, and then that's a different situation. But let's talk about them Cowboys. Let's talk about Andy Dalton and the boys. How confident are you that Andy Dalton is the Andy Dalton we've seen in years past and not whatever we've seen from him so far this season for the Cowboys?
I think the lighter matchup definitely helps him a bit this week. Still not somebody I'm rushing out to start. Like, I don't think I'm anywhere near the starter range.
No, I don't think I would either. Probably around 20.
Yeah, I've got him 22. You got him 24. I mean, Cooper should be fine again, I think.
So what makes you think Cooper's going to be the better of the wide receivers? Like, just the fact that he's the one?
He's the most talented. He's going to get open the most, probably. You think Gallup or CD is more talented than Amari Cooper?
I think it depends on what you're looking for in a quarterback. Route running, no. I think Amari Cooper is probably one of the best route runners in the league. I think CD Lamb might be a little bit more athletic. And I think Michael Gallup might be a little bit more of a mismatch problem size-wise. Although I don't know how tall Amari Cooper is, but he doesn't play that big.
No. Gallup's bigger, but and CD is a little bit quicker, I think, too. But I mean, if you're taking an overall skill set of a wide receiver, Amari Cooper is their number one.
He is their number one. He's got a lot of short passes as well. I saw a stat today on Twitter about it where he obviously Kamara leads the league in like passes close to the scrimmage yard, but Cooper was up there as well with like 20. So it should be good for him Andy Dalton to get his confidence back throwing short passes to Amari Cooper. Your projection for Amari Cooper today, who leads the Cowboys in your eyes in wide receiving?
I'll say 7 for 85.
Wow, that's a lot of short passes.
It is a lot of short passes.
All right, it's time for the rankings fight. We've already talked about a few of these, but we're going to get right into it. And we're going to start with the man, Mike Davis, who I have ranked number 8.
Crazy high.
He is playing Detroit. That ranks dead last against running backs. We saw what Gibson and McKissic did to them last week. There's no competition for carries I want you to remember that because we're going to talk about some other guys. And you have him ranked 20th.
Right.
So you have him behind James Robinson playing the Steelers.
Sure. What's wrong with that?
So it sounds like we have a bet here. We both have James Robinson at 12. And I think Mike Davis in PPR is going to beat him.
Okay.
And you disagree and you think James Robinson.
I mean, I can see why you're thinking that with what happened with Washington, but I mean, I don't think it's going to be granted with no Bridgewater, with PJ Walker, and they're probably going to lean a little more heavily there. But I mean, I think that also Detroit will be a little bit more in the box. You'd think.
With Robbie Anderson running down the field, DJ Moore running around, and Curtis Samuel? I don't think so. I got Davis. You got James Robinson. Put it on the board. Next up.
If anyone's paid attention, that means Davis will definitely beat Robinson.
Yes. C-Chav, Pittman or Gage or Valdez Scantling, PPR, wide receiver 3. I'm going to go with Pittman because it's PPR.
I'm going Pittman as well. I mean, Gage, no. MVS, maybe, but...
In standard, I would give MVS possibly. At least I'd make it a lot closer. But in PPR, no. No.
Lazard is on a pitch count to me. Yeah. So
I dropped him in the rankings and moved up MVS to his spot, basically. But I still don't. I don't know. He's had 2 nice games, but I don't think it's going to continue. It could.
But the MVS thing, like one was on a 80-yard touchdown catch.
Yeah, that's what he does.
He definitely do, but he'll probably it's 50-50. He's going to catch or drop that ball, though.
So let's talk about Salvin Ahmed, Miami Dolphins running back. Hopefully I said his last name right. I have him ranked 18th at Denver, who was ranked 19th. You have him ranked 28th. You know how many touches he had last week?
Oh, it was high. It was about like 22.
22 is correct. Good job. Why are you having him so low?
Breida's back. I think he'll be in there a little bit.
Really? Do you think Breida's a factor?
I think he's a little bit of a factor.
I think Salvin Ahmed has been running well enough that they have to keep going with him. He had 4.0 yards per carry on his big work week last week. He had 5 point something the week before that. I think they keep pounding the rock with him. Make sure Tua doesn't have to do too much. And it should be kind of a blowout against Denver. I don't think this will be a very close game.
Yeah, that's Denver's looked really bad the last couple of weeks here.
Let's talk about the man who now has to be your favorite player. We've talked about guys who haven't delivered that you still haven't given up on. And this man is number 1 in your hearts, and that's Jonathan Taylor.
Okay, yeah, that I would change that based off of this morning.
Based off this morning, them saying Naheem Hines is going to get the bulk of the carries?
Yeah.
What did you think was going to happen? He's been dominating.
Yeah, I just feel like Taylor's still the back to go. And Green Bay's run defense is terrible. I thought they would give him this game here.
You don't think this is the who do you think you are, I am game for Jonathan Taylor where he tells all the other running backs?
I thought it might be the chance for him to do it. And if they're not going to even give him the opportunity, then.
So where would you rank him now? You had him at 15 ahead of Mike Davis. Crazy, crazy man.
I'd probably flip him and Hines, to be honest. It'd be like 15 to 27, something like that. So
you would still rather have Naheem Hines over Mike Davis this week?
Okay, no.
So outside the top 20 then.
Yeah.
You have Damian Harris at 21. Is he ahead of Damian Harris in PPR?
In PPR, yes, he will be.
Okay, so he's at 21, 1 spot behind Mike Davis.
Yes.
You got some questions to get to. Aiden Tobin, it's Juju's birthday. Instant start? No, I don't think that changes anything.
I mean, I would still start him in most leagues that I have him. But
I don't think his birthday changes anything. I think Juju's always in birthday mode, so I think he's just going to have an even better day. Well, I guess about the same day. I don't know. I don't think that changes anything. Thanks for the question. Aiden, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Bronco plays. Pick one player. Devontae Parker, DJ Chark, Brandon Cooks, Jameson Carter, and Standard. Who that's probably have
mentioned, even though I didn't pump him up too much.
DJ?
Yeah, it's DJ or Parker, and I'll lean DJ.
I don't know which way to turn my hands. I'll reverse. Chark it is.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the man who's going for something that has been never done before. All right? Back-to-back revenge games. We are talking about Kalen Balaj, who last week ran all over the Dolphins and now gets to run all over the Jets. Matt, I have him ranked 17th. You are not a believer. You have him at 34.
Yeah, I don't believe the talent there anymore. I mean, it could have been Adam Gase. It definitely could have been.
Could have been Adam Gase in both stops.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Which I don't know why he'd agree to go back to the Jets with Adam Gase.
Nobody else would take him. He had to go wherever he could. Now he gets revenge on Adam Gase this week.
Yeah, I just don't buy it that much. Like, I can't rank him any higher than that. I tried.
I have him 17. I'm absolutely fine with starting him. I think he's going to get the bulk of the work. They clearly don't trust Josh Kelly.
Not anymore, no.
I haven't heard Pope's name in a while. I know he missed the game, but he didn't do anything last week when he was there.
Yeah.
And Jackson's still out. Eckler's still out. This is the last game. The revenge.
The revenge tour is over.
Yeah, this might be the Adam Gase, who do you think you are? I am. Kalen Balaj play. So I like it a lot. Aiden Tobin talking about Hines going nutty on his birthday last Thursday. Yeah, I mean, this just happens. But he also went nutty 2 weeks before that, and it wasn't his birthday. If what's your choice? Like, who do you have other than Juju? And we'll let you know who you should start. So now let's talk about Damian Harris. We have talked about him a bit. Sony is not back, apparently. So I would bump him up with the news that Sony is not back and throw him probably ahead of Jonathan Taylor. That's for sure. But when I thought Sony was going to be back, I thought it was going to be a complete mess. But he's top 30. Dr. Clutch, good morning. Good morning, Dr. Clutch. Welcome to the show. Randy Sovitz says, good morning, Dr. Clutch. Matt, you want to do that in Randy Savage voice?
No, I was told that was really bad last time, so I'm not gonna bother.
Ooh, yeah. That's all I got. Daryl Henderson, Matt, you like him? I don't. Sell me on why he is a top 25 play against the 6th-ranked Tampa Bay run defense in this backfield that saw Cam Akers, I think, lead the way in touches, or at least carries, last week. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's outside the top 24, which means he's not a starter. So we'll get that out of the way there. But, yeah, he's the back I like the most out of these three.
Agreed.
Okay, good. Yeah, he's probably going to lead them in touches here. I mean, they're not afraid to take him out near the goal line. I think they're going to be close to that situation a few times. I'm kind of banking on him getting a touchdown here, but because that's what he needs.
So when you say lead the backfield in touches, you mean like it's going to be like 11, 10, and 9?
Well, as long as he's the 11, then yes.
Yeah, but I mean, is that a big difference, 11 versus 9?
No, but it's just explaining why I've got him the highest of the three.
I just have all of them low. You can't bank on any of them. You don't know who it's going to be any week.
No, and that's why he's 25. I mean, he's not top 15 here.
Oh, I know, but you all like he's ahead of Kalen Balaj for you.
Yeah, I just don't believe with Kalen Balaj. Maybe he'll prove me wrong.
Okay.
Maybe he'll do who do you think I am? You are, I am.
Exactly. Justin Barker says pick 3: Mike Davis, Chubb, James Robinson, Kamara. I'm going to sit James Robinson.
I'm going to sit Kamara. Obviously not. Kamara.
It's not a joke.
I'm going to sit Davis, but yeah, those are all great options.
You got to pick 3, Matt. Who are you sitting?
I'm sitting Davis.
And the bet continues.
But again, we already know how our bets go, so maybe start Davis then based off of that.
Mike Davis going against the worst rush defense. James Robinson going against one of the better ones. A lot of throwing in garbage time when they get down by 40. I like James Robinson is the better running back, but just this week he's going to get outdone by Mike Davis, who probably in his last game ever for Mike Davis.
Do you even have Mike Davis probably ahead of Chubb, honestly? No, you don't. Okay.
I have Chubb like top 5.
Yeah. I just thought with Khan, you might have him backwards, but
those are some great running backs. I wouldn't even there's nothing to trade there, right? Because you just keep the 3 guys and roll. Mike Davis has been good filling. And that was basically the question, Mike Davis or James Robinson. Justin Barker, thank you so much for the question. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. This is the only video we do every week, so you don't get bombarded with notifications that our videos are up. We talked about J.D. McKissic. Matt, are you willing to move him higher than 39 with all the targets he's gotten?
No.
Gets more targets than Henderson gets touches.
I know. No, Let's see who else I've got up there.
For those of you watching for the first time, it's just important to note that Matt takes 3 weeks. He needs 3 weeks of evidence before he believes a player is doing what he's doing, apparently. Because 15 and 14 targets in their last 2 games with a different quarterback is still not selling him on J.D. McKissic.
Alex Smith was in on the 14-week game.
Pardon?
Alex Smith came in on the 14 targets game.
Yeah, that's the thing. Alex Smith has been there for both these games where he's had this ridiculous amount of targets. Yeah. And Alex Smith continues to be there.
No. I know. I want to. I just can't.
Can't do it, folks.
Gibson is just I just don't get it. I think Gibson's just he's equivalent of a receiving back. It just doesn't make sense to me.
They like to rotate. It's Riverboat Ron. He likes to do it. Let's move on to some wide receivers, though. Let's talk about A.J. Brown, who hasn't been living up to his billing lately. I have him down at wide receiver 24 because this matchup against the Ravens is not an easy one. They have good corners everywhere. You have him still at 13. I'm scared of the matchups. I don't feel the floor is all that high. He's shown that the floor can be quite low. So I just rather start somebody with a higher ceiling. Give me a Tyler Boyd. Give me a Will Fuller this week. And I know Will Fuller is not the type of player usually save for a high floor, but he's had a higher floor than A.J. Brown this season. Matt, sell me on him at 13 ahead of both the guys I just mentioned.
Okay. Sorry, what was Will Fuller and who was the other one?
Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd. Okay. Tyler Boyd has got a lot of mouths to feed there. They've got Higgins and, AJ Green.
AJ Green is not eating. He's not eating at all. He didn't have any meals last week, and he had 2 small ones the week before.
And we'll go, AJ Brown's just such a better athlete, like, for starters.
There's no question. He's the better talent. It's not close.
And his quarterback is doing okay to get him the ball. He had a bad week last week, so that means he's going to have a good week this week.
That's how it works?
That's how A.J. Brown works.
He's matchup proof. He's going to torch the Ravens secondary.
Oh, I mean, it's not going to torch him, but he's going to be okay. Like, he should get about 80 to 90 yards and maybe a touchdown.
Okay. I mean,
the guy can do it. Will Fuller is, that's not much of a better matchup, but New England with Gilmore's back this week, right? Like, he's probably going to see a lot of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. But is Gilmore still the player that he used to be? Because I'll tell you who isn't. Patrick Peterson. He is not a shutdown corner anymore.
He does well against Metcalf.
What was he doing on that one play? He got burnt against Metcalf, and that one play. No, I don't know. He just has too many lapses. Stroke my ego. Standard. Bell, J.K. Dobbins, J.D. McKissic as a flex. As you can see, I suck at fantasy football.
It's not Dobbins? Bell.
Dobbins,
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, because it's standard. In PPR, it wouldn't be close. It would be J.D. the man McKissic. But in standard, I think you got to go Dobbins.
Yeah, because I think he's the lead of the backs there. He's kind of similar to the Rams.
Yeah, the Darrell Henderson lead of the backs there.
Yeah.
He's their pass catcher, though. He catches more passes than Gus Edwards doesn't catch any. So,
yeah, it's Dobbins.
Dobbins it is. Thanks for the question. Let's talk about Chase Claypool, Matt. You have him at 39. Why do you hate Chase Claypool? Is it because he's Canadian?
It is definitely not because of that.
Is it because he has the worst nickname I've ever heard in Mapletron?
Ooh, I didn't even hear that.
You haven't heard they call him Mapletron?
No, I haven't heard that.
Like the maple leaf with like the Transformers like logo, they call him Mapletron. It is the absolute worst thing I've ever heard. And people like it.
I've not seen that. But no, I think this is going to, as much as they put up points against Jacksonville, like they're not going to be throwing after 2.5 quarters, I don't think.
Right, because it's not like they blew out the Bengals last week and all of them didn't have a good game.
Well, the Bengals are a much better team than the Jags.
But they blew them out by like 30.
Yeah.
And they kept throwing, and Connor did nothing.
Yeah, that was a strange one. I actually didn't understand why they did that. But
why wouldn't they do it again against Jacksonville?
Nah, because they're nicer. The Bengals are a rival. Like, you want to beat them down. Like, the Jaguars, you just feel bad for them.
My rule for all these Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers is start them if you got them. Last 3 games, 10 targets, 13 targets, 9 targets, combined 3 touchdowns, 2 in one game. He's got better yardage than Jarvis Landry, who has no competition for targets. So I don't know why you're going away from him. I think if you have him, because of the high ceiling, you got to plug him in.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a comment here on Instagram, Matt, from Adolfo M7. Bench AJ Brown for Lazard, Parker, or Marvin Jones, or start him?
I would start him. The only one I'd even consider, well, I mean, you could consider Parker and Jones, but I would start AJ Brown over all those guys.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider Lazard.
No.
Let me just see what we got here on my rankings, unless, Matt, you want to give them to me.
Do I have got Marvin Jones at 30, and
I do have
Parker is 18. You got Parker higher than AJ Brown.
Yep. So I don't think I have Marvin Jones higher, right?
No, you got AJ Brown at 24, Marvin Jones at 30, and Parker at 18. So you really like Devontae Parker this week.
He's got no competition.
Jasicki?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tight end.
Yeah.
Jonnu Smith is the equivalent there, so he doesn't have a Corey Davis, and he doesn't have a Derrick Henry to deal with. We got some questions coming in. I took your advice this week. If Fulham and McKissick FQQ and rinse harder than Dobbins and Rager, I want you guys to shotgun live next week. Okay. It was standard, right, for McKissick? Because that's a different story.
Yeah, it was standard.
And don't expect Dobbins to be like anything like much better than McKissick. So if that one's close, that one doesn't count. But if Fulham destroys Rager, then for sure we will.
You will.
For sure. I will do 2.
There you go. Perfect.
I'll do 1 for each one if it's a blowout.
So there you go. You could be up to 4.
No, I'm not. I'm just doing 1 for each one. Last guy, Jamison Crowder. I am 29. Matt Yum 42. Going into Chargers. Tell me why I'm too high on him.
Joe Flacco starting to start. Although he did pretty well against New England there, but that's one thing I don't like about him. I don't get, like, we've got kind of him and Denzel Mims backwards here. I don't know, what did Denzel Mims do to you? You're a big Denzel Mims guy.
Well, Perriman had the huge game last time they played.
Yeah.
I think Perriman fits Flacco a lot better because he is that Flacco likes to bomb it downfield, right? So Perriman is the guy. But in PPR, Crowder, so other than the 1 week where he had 2 targets and caught a touchdown, the first 4 games, he's played only 5. His first 4 games were all double-digit targets. They were with Darnold.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm not overly excited to play him. I have Claypool ahead of him. But I still don't think he's way down at 42, and I don't think Mims has shown enough to be in any type of flex consideration, especially with those 2 guys healthy.
Maybe not in consideration there, but I'm just saying, like, I've got Mims at 40, and you've got him at 67, so you don't think he's anything to do with this passing game.
Yeah, I'd probably just stop ranking after a certain point.
I think that he's still involved enough that he's going to take some targets away from Crowder. I think they're going to try to get P. Ryan going a bit more too. I heard that somewhere out of New York that they're trying to get him.
Yeah, they're going to see what they have in him, similar to what they're doing when the Saints doing. I'm just looking at the guys that I have ahead of him. Like, so I have him at 67, last place for me on this list. Like, I have Travis Fulham ahead of him, which to me isn't wrong. I think Mims is a 3rd guy on his team, whereas Fulham is probably the 2nd and a half. T.Y. Hilton is ahead. Rashard Higgins should be the number 2. Cobb is like the 3, but it's a better offense. Lazard on a pitch count, I guess that's close. But I have Marquise Brown down there as well. So you know how I feel about Marquise Brown. So, yeah, I just wouldn't consider starting Mims unless you were really forced to do so.
No, and I'm just saying that I have him as more of a factor in the passing game than you do with Crowder. That's all I'm saying.
So you think Mims has a better game than Crowder today?
Be close. I've got him.
Yeah, I'm not going to bet on it. I think
they're going to eat into each other, and I don't think it's Crowder like up here and everybody else is like down here anymore.
No, I don't think so. I don't know where I have Perriman. I don't see, but having Perriman, he's not even on the list.
Yeah.
So I mean, clearly a mistake was done there. I would have Perriman in standard higher, but I don't think that Perriman is any type of a for sure thing at all. So
none of them are.
No.
Honestly.
No, that's the thing. And 29 is about as high as I'd go on any wide receiver there. I probably have Perriman at about 29 in standard if we were talking standard. So, Matt, we got 10 minutes to go here. Want to remind everyone, It is cuffing season. If you're good running back like your Alvin Kamara is through his bye, which he is, you need to have Latavius Murray on your roster. He's more important than picking up a J.D. McKissick so you can start him 1 week. Because if you lose Kamara, you're going to lose your league. Get Latavius Murray, get Carlos Hyde, get Alexander Madison, get Tony Pollard. I mean, that one has really lost some stock. But, I mean, if we were doing the Sunday Showdown, Zeke would be in the B pool.
Woo. And I'm not that down on Zeke.
No, I'm not that down on him either. But, yeah, he would have been in the same group as, most surprisingly, Jamal Williams, Salvon Ahmed, Melvin Gordon, Gurley, and Duke Johnson. I guess Jamal Williams is the only random one there that slipped in. Yeah, which game are you looking forward to today, Matt?
Call me biased. Green Bay, Indianapolis.
Okay, bias.
Okay. I think that's just got it. The Indianapolis defense is going to pose a really tough test for that Packers offense. I'm interested to see how they handle it.
Who do you think Pat McAfee will be rooting for today in that game?
I would hope Green Bay, but it's probably going to be – he's going to be more loyal to Indianapolis, but I'm sure Rodgers give him the gears if he does.
I don't know if you watched the show. I watch it. I always watch on Tuesday when Aaron Rodgers is on. I don't know if you do, but he was torn because he said the owner of the Colts gave him a plane to go to do a job last year. So, and they also paid him millions and millions of dollars for many years. So he was torn.
Well, Aaron Rodgers could threaten to stop going on a show, and then he'd probably cheer for Green Bay.
Did you see the comment that Aaron Rodgers made about his offense coordinator? We talked about that last week.
No, we didn't talk about it, but I saw it where he said that he's not. I hope he doesn't go anywhere unless I do.
Yeah, I said I hope he doesn't go anywhere unless I'm not here.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Do you think he would have made that comment prior to having a weekly sit down with Pat McAfee, where people got to know his sense of humor more?
That's really tough for me to comment on. I'd say sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's more joking around than he's always been a very serious type of person. Other than his relaxed comment, and that blew up. He said relax, and people were like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So
he's a little bit more relaxed this year anyway. He just seems very laid back compared to previous seasons, like you mentioned. Maybe it's because of Danica Patrick being gone.
It could be, but I mean, she wasn't there for 10 years.
Well,
she was there for a couple. Didn't he have Munn before that? Is that what you said?
Yeah, Olivia Munn was before that. Apparently he's dating
pretty laid back.
Girl, so there's some girl from Divergent or something. I think he's dating. Anyway,
sure.
Not really important.
He did mention at one point it's important to have the people that you love in your life, and that really changes things. So, but yeah, if you ever watch the Pat McAfee on Tuesday, it's at 1:00 our time. I don't know. He just talks about whatever, and you can usually find it on YouTube. He'll just clip just the interview, so you can just watch that afterwards. Good to watch.
Really good. I see a little bit of it on Twitter, but yeah.
Game I'm looking forward to today has to be the Saints and Falcons. Come on. How do you not want to see Taysom Hill at quarterback slinging it like he does with his arm and being sneaky athletic and just being like a lunch pail guy and a gym rat? And
I don't think this is like that. And I think he can throw the ball okay. I've seen him throw it enough that
it was a bit awkward.
Oh, maybe the actual throwing motion, but the actual passes themselves are okay.
No, he throws a nice ball, but I think he just doesn't have a quick release. It's more of a longer throw.
I don't think he's going to go in and struggle as much as a lot of people do. I don't think Michael Thomas is going to be dead because Taysom Hill's in there.
Has Michael Thomas been alive yet this year?
No, he is not. But he's also been out for 6 weeks. So
he hasn't done anything since he's returned.
No, he's only been back for a game, I think.
Yeah, seems like he's been back for forever.
But yeah, I mean that my point is that all these wide receivers don't take a huge hit because Drew Brees is gone and Taysom Hill's back. Yeah,
no, I agree. They take a small hit, and again, Michael Thomas hasn't been great. You talked about somebody having him ranked at 29. That's obviously way too low. Mm-hmm. If you want to not start Emmanuel Sanders because of it, sure, I get it, but he's probably going to look Michael Thomas's way more than anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that's what worst QBs do, right? They go to the big guy.
Best guy. Yeah, they're like, hey, that guy's good. He'll catch it no matter how bad I throw it.
Yeah.
So he might force it to him. You might get picked off a couple times. He's definitely going to run it with his legs. It's going to be exciting to see what they have. That game will be on continuously. Other good games, well, there really isn't much. I guess the Titans-Ravens, that's a good game.
Yeah, that'll be all right too.
Think the Ravens get revenge for the Derrick Henry turning Earl Thomas into a blocker game from last season?
I was thinking about that. Like, I saw the spread was 7 points. I thought that was really high.
Well, the Titans have been playing awful.
Yeah.
They lost to the Colts on Thursday night.
Yeah. I think the Colts are better than people think, though.
Yeah, I mean, except the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars think they're garbage.
True.
Top 5 running backs in order after I closed it. Come on, man. Matt, go ahead and read them off.
Just for this week here?
Yeah, just this week's rankings.
In PPR,
I don't know. Randy, what do you want? PPR? You want non-PPR? We got them both at BlueDuckFantasy.com.
I'll go PPR. This week it's Cook, Kamara, Henry, Chubb, and Jacobs.
Chubb and Jacobs tied for 4th and 5th.
Yes, I see that actually. And I bet you non-PPR is probably very close. Yes, it's the exact same list.
So no matter which ones you want, that's the order.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have Jacobs lower than Chubb. You want standard. So Cook, Kamara, Henry, and then Chubb and Jacobs tied in the 4th and 5th spot.
Yes, that is just for this week only.
For this week only.
Yeah.
But it'll probably be pretty similar next week as well.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue maybe Aaron Jones makes an appearance, or Zeke, or
Christian McCaffrey if he plays.
McCaffrey Barkley if he decides to play.
Kalen Ballage if he has a great game.
Drake, Robinson.
DeAndre Swift if he gets over his concussion. Trey S. asks, full PPR flags, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Gurley, or Gio. Thanks, fellas. Give me some Robert Woods.
Yeah, it's Robert Woods and then Gurley for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gurley has a tougher matchup against, I think, the Saints, who are pretty tough against the run.
But, yeah, I would say Robert Woods is the number one. Woods, Gurley, Gio, Cooks is for me, I think.
Yeah, that sounds good. But it's Woods. Thanks, Trey S. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Matt, anything you want to talk about before we wrap it up here and watch some football today?
No, not really. Let's talk about
Let's talk about who's going to win at Survivor Series tonight in the main event between Drew McIntyre and the other guy.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I'll say Roman Reigns will win.
Okay. I have no idea. I just asked you before the show why they're having that match, but
well, I mean, you can make a pick.
I will go with Roman.
There you go.
Flex Cooper or Bernard? No scoring.
I think Roman will somebody will interfere or something.
We have a football question. Cooper or Bernard? Stop talking about wrestling.
Amari Cooper.
Randy the Macho Man Savage will not be wrestling on Sunday night. Happy Sunday, gentlemen. Enjoy your day. Randy, best of luck for all your teams. Thanks so much for dropping by. Make sure to hit that like button. Everybody hit the like button now. That's going to wrap it up for the show. Minute before the game start.
Yeah.
Time to sit down, have some food, and watch some TVs. Matt, last words?
Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. Hopefully you're doing both.
That's it.